90.
Okay, it's recording. So, good afternoon, one and all, and good afternoon to our speaker, who is my teacher. And once a teacher is always a teacher. And I still learn many things from him. And I was thinking that today what I will learn. So, certainly, I will learn how he will handle this topic. This topic is not something new to me. I think I know much better than many participants, and many participants they know something on this topic. This topic is a conceptualization of political theory. Before I introduce this topic, let me introduce the speaker, Professor Shyam Acharya. He is a retired professor uh, from Fakirmon University, though professor never retires, but the designation is retired professor. And he is one of few influential teacher in Odisha. And most interesting aspect about his personality is that uh, I mean, he reads a lot and he has inquisitiveness towards knowledge. At this age, he can be part of any seminar as a participant, as a resource person, as a person who uh, what moderate a session as a moderator on multiple uh, you know he can participate in a seminar in with multiple forms. So let's come to the topic today, a political theory. So we know what is political theory, but in an interview, if this question will be asked, what is political theory, then certainly we feel nervous. Many words which is very much related and which is also used interchangeably with political theory is political philosophy, political thought, political ideology, etc. So we have to understand how political theory is distinct from the understanding of political philosophy, political uh, thought, political ideology. So for that, I think the clarification is required. Though some of the books has mentioned this clarification, but I think that listening to a resource person always helps us to understand what is written in the book. And secondly, uh, you know, the understanding of political theory, it is not static, it is very much fluid, right? So when traditional approach was dominating, at that time political theory was understood in a certain way, and under the behavioral revolution political theory got a different understanding. And today in a post behavioral age we understand political theory slightly different. So I think today the speaker will also touch how political theory and its understanding has evolved from traditional approach to this post behavioral approach. And many more things he will speak in his deliberation. So I think that this is the right time to invite him once again on this platform. He has already given two talks on this platform. This is his third talk. And sir, thank you for accepting our, my, uh, invitation. And since uh, the purpose of this webinar is academics only, so I hope that students will be benefited with your deliberation. And sir, right now I am welcoming you and I request you to start your deliberation on this topic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Himangsu. I am very happy because I have been invited to speak on a very important topic. pertaining to political theory, thought, etc. And I remember, as Himanshu has already mentioned, 30-40 years back, and to be very precise, in 1984, when I was appearing at the Public Service Commission interview, at the time I was in GM College, Sambalpur GM College, and now it is university, and I taught there for 9 years. Long 9 years I was there. I was teaching there in GM College. And why I am telling you all this thing? Because in that interview, almost all the interviewees, I mean all the aspirants for government college lecturership, were asked the question, what is the difference between political theory and political thought? When I take class on political thought or on political theory, I always tell my students that you must know what is political thought, what is political theory, because questions can be asked to you in the interview and several times. Questions have been asked. I also keep on asking questions when I get an opportunity to ask the students questions. I also ask this question. So I make them, I clarify them, I make them aware that you must be ready for such questions. And even if the interviewees know the question earlier, it is not that easy to answer the question. It is not that easy to answer such a question, because usually in the books you will not find the answer. I got this answer from one IS study circle book, Distinction between Political Theory and Political Thought, one book on political science, published by, or which is circulated, which used to be circulated among those who were taking coaching classes in IS study circle, Rao study circle, to be very specific. The question was partly answered. Why partly? Because it is very difficult to get an answer which will satisfy all and which will satisfy all the interviewers. But something is required. Some knowledge you must have. That is, what is the difference between political theory and political thought. I told in the interview, which I am telling you now, which I also tell in the class, I keep on telling in my class, that political theory includes principles which govern political institutions. It was written in that book, and already Himanshu has pointed out that some words are interchangeably used, or some phrases are interchangeably used, like political theory, political thought, they are used interchangeably. Sometimes in case of political theory, you will find the title is political thought. There is one book by Cooker, Recent Political Thought by Cooker, in which fascism is there, in which pluralism is there, but that book title is Recent Political Thought. And the book, famous book by Sabine on political thought is History of Political Theory. That is a famous book on political thought, and the title is Political Theory, History of Political Theory. So I just gave you an example that how the terms are interchangeably used. In place of political theory, political thought is used. In case of political thought, political theory is used. But strictly speaking, there is a difference between the two. And political theory includes the principles which govern or regulate political institutions. In that book it was written, because I told you that I read from that book, and it is not that easy to get books where you will find the distinction so clearly or so easily between political thought and political theory. So when Himanshu invited me to give a talk on this, and he told that you taught I taught him in the class in which he was a student, that I took some time, that I thought that I should prepare, I should go through the book and then talk to you. Because when you conceptualize political theory, so many concepts come and you have to be very clear. Because whatever we tell the students, they must be able to have a clear understanding. So I took some time. So I used to tell my students in the classroom that I told in the PSC interview that political theory includes the principles which regulate political institutions like executive, legislature, judiciary. And I thought of one example which I added and told in the interview that, for example, separation of powers. So separation of powers is a principle which we read in political theory, and it regulates the relation between executive, legislature and judiciary. So executive, legislature and judiciary. So you can give this example. And so far as political thought is concerned, political thought deals with what should be or what ought to be in politics. And political philosophy is also something, remember. So Himanshu told that Sir would tell the difference between political thought and political philosophy. But I have tried to search the difference, but I think difference is not there. It is not easy to get difference between political thought and political philosophy. They are same. So whatever I have read, I have come to the conclusion that political theory, political thought and political philosophy are same because they deal with values. Each one of them, or political thought and political philosophy, both of them, they deal with political values. What should be, what ought to be. So there is no difference, and we must know that. So these are fundamental questions. These are fundamental questions. And when I want to proceed, so far as my lecture is concerned, my structure of presentation will be like this. So please listen to me carefully. I will proceed accordingly. So first I will tell what is the genesis of political theory. Because Greece is considered to be the homeland of theory and political thought also. Because if you read the book of Weber, Political Thought, Weber, famous book, Weber writes that political thought as we know, I am quoting, political thought as we know in the West is the invention of the Greeks. So I will tell you the genesis of political theory. Then I will come to tell you that how political theory comprises of political science and political philosophy. This I have found out in the book of Waba and a famous book, Hacker, which I read earlier, but I didn't read that book from this aspect. From this aspect, I didn't read that book earlier, but for reading political thought, I read that book earlier. A very good book. Very good book. I will recommend all of you to go through that book, because it is very difficult to get books in thought. Though there are plenty of books. Plenty of books are there, but very difficult to get books which are original and which are very clear. Very clear. It can give you a clear-cut thinking. Because when you read Rousseau's Social Contract, let me tell you, I also tell in my classes, even in the refresher course classes where the lecturers they attend, I also tell them, and they are very interested to listen. They become very interested to listen. That I say that Hacker has compared Rousseau's Social Contract with you. STU, you. So he has compared Rousseau's Social Contract with you. One end of you is state of nature. Middle point is civil society. The other end is political community. So he has compared it with the help of, or he has projected it with the help of you. And in case of Rousseau, he says that Rousseau's civil society is Hobbes' state of nature. Rousseau's civil society is Hobbes' state of nature. Very interesting. Very interesting. And you find corresponding to state of nature, natural man. Corresponding to civil society, you find corrupted men. Corresponding to political community, you find democratic men. I hope I am not very fast and all of you can remember, and you can also, if you want, you can make running notes because this is very interesting. Very interesting. So corresponding to state of nature, you find natural men. Corresponding to civil society, which comes at the midpoint of view, corrupted men. Corresponding to the other point of view, top point of view, that is political community, you find a democratic man. Same man. Man is essentially good. Man is essentially good according to Rousseau. But why he becomes bad or why he becomes corrupted? Because of the environment. Because of the private property which entered into the state of nature like a snake and corrupted the atmosphere of the state of nature. The state of nature got vitiated and degenerated into civil society. The midpoint of view. And civil society is comparable to Hobbes' state of nature, remember. Hobbesian state of nature and Rousseau's civil society are same. So, at which point social contract takes place? Very interesting to know. Social contract takes place not from state of nature to when individuals come from state of nature to civil society, but when they go from civil society to political community. At that point only contract takes place. So, general will you find corresponding to political community, right? So all of you can understand, I hope. So this is how it has been written in the book of Hacker. So I told you about the book of Hacker and Andrew Hacker, and that the title of the book is Political Theory, Political Philosophy, Ideology, Science. So mark the title. Though I read from that book many things, but I did not know why this title is like this. But when I wanted to talk to you, as invited by Himanshu, I went through the book and I found that why the title is like this. Political theory hyphen political philosophy colon ideology then colon science. So this is how the book is written, or this is the title. So when we discuss about the genesis of political theory, I told you that we will discuss about the genesis of political theory first. Then we will come to see what is the difference between political science, political theory, political philosophy, political ideology, political thought. Also, I have told you already that there is no distinction between political thought and political philosophy, though there is distinction between political thought and political theory. Then we will come to see that what is the role of political philosophy. What is the role of political philosophy? Then we will see that political philosophy which harps on values, political thought or political philosophy which harps on values. We will see the debate regarding values, especially among the traditional approach, the behavioral approach, the post-behavioral approach, empiricist, trans-empiricist, like that. So different debates are there. So we will concentrate on the debate between traditional approach, behavioral approach, post-behavioral approach. We will concentrate on the debate between all these groups of theories. Then we will come to conclusion. And in the conclusion, I will come to tell you that post-behavioral approach, how we will be attracted towards the post-behavioral approach, and we will like to conclude with them, and how political theory can combine, or it should combine political science and political philosophy. Therefore, the title of the Hacker book is like that. And he very interestingly says that a political theorist, you can note down also, a political theorist should be part scientist and part philosopher. He should be part scientist and he should be part philosopher. So we will come to that. One by one, we will come to that. So first we will go to discuss or we will have a discussion on the genesis of political theory. Now, first we will see what is political, then we will come to see theory, because that way will become very systematic. So we should proceed very systematically. I hope all of you are understanding, and there is no problem when I am presenting, and there is clarity. I hope all of you are understanding. Now, first we will come to the genesis. And so far as political is concerned, political, politics, polity, they are all derived from the word, as you know, police. All of you know this, that they are derived from the word police. And police is Greek city-state, small Greek city-state, in which the institutions and activities were well knit. Small city-states in which the institutions and activities were well knit. And polity, their police comprised these institutions and activities. And we have borrowed the word politics or polity from this word police. And when we discuss politics nowadays, for example, if we discuss politics nowadays, because we told that how it has been derived from the Greek word police, and I have explained to you, it is also written in the book, in almost all the books you find, all the books on theory, you find this thing, that how it is derived from police, and police is city-state. So, matters of city-state, they can be called political. But now, in the present day, or nowadays, when we say politics, let us again be clear. Politics is the institutions and activities which are there in the sphere, in the public sphere. Nowadays, what happens in the public sphere is included in politics. Now, when I say this thing, let me tell you a very interesting thing, because I may forget later on. This very interesting thing which I must tell you. When we say political, I must tell you that nowadays, under the impact of sociology, under the influence of sociology, and there is one Catlin who says that political theory comprises of political science and political philosophy. Political science, like Hacker, he also argues, Catlin, Catlin. So Catlin also points out that political theory comprises of political science and political philosophy. But again he says that political science should be combined with sociology. For a long time I have taught political sociology, and in many classes, right from graduation to post-graduation, PhD, MPhil, always I have taught political sociology. And political sociology is very interesting. And let me tell you, for your benefit, one thing, that the Amol Mukhopadhyay book is very good. Many books are there, I know. But Amol Mukhopadhyay book you read, and second chapter you read especially. Those who are especially preparing for NET, JRF, you concentrate on the second chapter. Whenever I teach, whichever institution I teach, I always tell the students, and I always teach also that second chapter. The second chapter is non-political politics. Non-political politics. You see the rubric, very interesting also. Non-political politics. So political we are discussing. Now I am telling you that under the impact of interdisciplinary approach, or you say especially sociology, how politics has become non-political. Because politics, as you know, and as I have already told you a few words, few sentences, that it is concerned with state. But non-political politics can be located anywhere in society, anywhere in the broad social canvas. Politics can be located anywhere in the broad social canvas, not only in the state. So, in that chapter, in Amaru Mukhopadhyay book, you will find a very interesting argument which I also tell my students. In that book, it has been argued that politics is there where conflict is there. Politics, remember, politics is there where conflict is there. Where conflict is not there, politics is not there. So you see what character non-political politics is assumed under the impact of these sociologists. Sociologically inclined political scientists, there are many sociologically inclined political scientists, and you will find that in their writing, what character non-political politics is assumed. So what happens, very interesting example I am giving you, quoting from that book, Amal Mukhopadhyay, that what happens in the British Parliament may not be political. If you take this definition that where politics is there, where conflict is there, then what happens in the British Parliament may not be political. But what happens in the family may be political. How? Because if all the members decided to wish Churchill on the occasion of his birthday, then there is no conflict. And because there is no conflict, there is no politics. Because all of them unanimously wished Churchill birthday. Are you getting my point? So there is no conflict there. So no politics is there. But if in a family, two children, brother and sister, they are quarreling over the possession of a toy, and mother is intervening to settle the dispute, then politics is there. So politics is there in conflict and in its resolution. So my suggestion to you is that you always concentrate on the second chapter of Amal Mukhopadhyay, because they are very important concepts in sociology of politics. I was in my professor interview, I was asked this question: how to distinguish between sociology of politics and political sociology. Very interesting point. And again, as I told you, that non-political politics is very, very interesting. If you read the book of Laswell and Kaplan, politics, who gets what, when, and how. And another book is there, politics, who gets what, when, and why. So you see that what character politics is assumed under the impact of interdisciplinary approach. So I told you what was, the thinking during the, Greek period, and what is the thinking now, and what was the thinking when political science came under the impact of sociology. And Catlin, who says that political theory comprises of political science and political philosophy, he argues that political science should be combined with political sociology. So very interesting points which I told you, and you must remember all these points. Now, coming to theory. So theory is from the word political, I told you. Now when you come to theory is from the word theoria. Again of Greek origin. Theoria. Theoria means seeing. S-E-E-I-N-G. S-E-E-I-N-G. Seeing. Beholding. Taking in. And according to Plato and Aristotle, to find out intellectually political principles, to find out principles which comprise episteme, E-P-I-S-T-E-M-E. E-P-I-S-T-E-M-E. Episteme means knowledge. And episteme is distinguished from doxa, D-O-X-A. Doxa means opinion. Episteme means knowledge. And this played very important in Plato's philosophy and in Greek philosophy, remember. So Plato pointed out that what works he has done or what works he has produced, they belong to episteme politicae. So from that you can know that what his theory is. Seeing with an inward eye, seeing with the eye of the mind, right? So theorist or philosopher, if you read books, you will find higher books, books which are meant for higher classes, you will find that it is mentioned theorist or philosopher. So theory and philosophy, they were almost enmeshed together, they are put together. And for your information or for your knowledge, not for information, I should not say information, for your knowledge, that because we are discussing about the Greeks and they emphasize episteme and they emphasize knowledge and they distinguish from doxa, and they pointed out that political philosophy. What is political philosophy? Political philosophy is political search for political knowledge or political wisdom. Search for political knowledge or political wisdom. That is what the Greek thinkers, especially Plato and Aristotle, they used to conceive of political philosophy like that. And let me tell you that if you read the book of Weber, which you must read for your clarity, in IS examinations earlier, in civil service examination, earlier straight some questions, some sentences were cited from Weber, and the examinees were asked to, elaborate or say, explain this statement. Hobbes is neither liberal nor Democrat but an individualist. Hobbes is neither liberal nor Democrat but an individualist. So, as I told you, that some sentences are directly asked from Weber, even in IS examination. So, you can know from that what is the importance of that book and how much importance is attached to that book. And Weber points out, sense of wonder is the source of philosophy. Sense of wonder is the source of philosophy. And if you know about Oxford, another important authority is there, Oxford, who took over the chair of London School of Economics and Political Science, or London School of Political Science, or Political Science chair he took over from Lasky, the great Lasky, in 1951, Oxford. He says about philosophy what? He told that philosophy is the dialogue between politics and eternity. Political philosophy, not simply philosophy, political philosophy is the dialogue or the relation between politics and eternity. So mark the sentences, how powerful these sentences are. And you will be also attracted if you read these sentences, and if you have interest in philosophy. I think all the students, they usually have interest in philosophy, and philosophy is such a subject, if you understand properly, you need not mug up things and cram in the examination hall. If you follow logically, you will go on writing in the examination, automatically the pen will take you. The pen will drive you, not that you will go on writing. The pen will drive you if you have understood. So philosophy you must try to understand. So my point is that this theory is of Greek origin. From the original word is theoria. Remember, theoria. And from that the word theory has come. So theory, political theory, about which we are discussing, political theory is, as Guava points out, it is a systematic knowledge about political phenomena. No doubt it is of Greek origin. We don't have any doubt about it. And till the beginning of 19th century, remember, I am telling you a very important thing, till the beginning of 19th century, there was no distinction between fact and value. Fact and value. I will tell about that in detail. There is no distinction between fact and value. Because, and therefore, there was no distinction between political science and political philosophy till the beginning of 19th century. Till the beginning of 19th century, there was no distinction between political science and political philosophy, and they were considered integral parts of the same branch of knowledge. That is theoria. That is theoria. So they were considered as the branch of integral parts of the same knowledge. That is theoria, as I told you, episteme, I told you. So there are no distinction. So my point is that when I have already told you that if you read Hacker, very interesting, I have already told you some interesting things about Hacker, how he written Rousseau. I am especially attracted towards Hacker because of Locke's liberalism. Do read Locke's liberalism from Hacker. Your ideas will be clear. And do read Social Contract of Rousseau from Hacker. Do read Historical Materialism from Hacker. So you will find that your ideas will be clear. And in that book you will find it has been mentioned that the political theory comprises of political science and political philosophy. So, when you read the book of Guava, he points out that political theory is concerned with three types of statements. One is, you can note down, one is empirical statement. Second one is logical statement. Third one is evaluative statement. So first one is empirical. All of you know that empirical knowledge comes through our sense perception or sense experience. So knowledge which is gained through sense perception or sense experience is called empirical knowledge. All of you know, if you don't know, you remember that. That is empirical knowledge. And then logical, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. That is logical. Okay? So it is based on reasoning. It is based on reasoning. Then you come to evaluative. Evaluative, as I have already told you, evaluative means what? It deals with values. You evaluate values. And political philosophy is the realm of final end or final value. Political philosophy is the realm of final values, ends. What is the purpose of universe? What is the purpose of good life? What is the purpose of good life? What is good life? If you say what is good life, you ask the question what is good life? If you ask what is the purpose of universe? So all these come under evaluative statement. If we say, let me give you another statement, men are born free and equal. Men are born free and equal. This statement is an evaluative one. So be very clear. And science is concerned with the first two, empirical and logical statements. So different persons, if they are applying their reasoning, if they are gaining knowledge through sense perception, they come to similar conclusion. They come to similar conclusion. That is empirical and logical. Right? So science is concerned with this. But evaluative is concerned with that which cannot be verified. Earlier two or the first two, they can be verified. The last one, which is concerned with political philosophy, evaluative statement, value judgment or value judgment, it cannot be verified. Let me give you an example. If I say that children in USA, they beat their parents. Children in USA beat their parents. You can do research on that. You can go to USA. You can interview children. You can prepare a questionnaire. You can interview children. You can interview their parents and come to the conclusion, verify whether the statement is true or not. But if I say in India, children should not beat their parents, this is evaluative judgment, which cannot be verified. So the truth or falsity of these values cannot be verified. Freedom, equality, democracy, they are excellent values to uphold, but their truth or falsity cannot be verified. So all of you know there is the distinction between fact and value, which I was telling you just a few minutes back. That fact and value. So fact is what is. Value is what ought to be, or value is what should be. So philosophy deals with value, political thought deals with values, which cannot be verified. But as I told you, that logical statements and empirical statements, they can be verified. But evaluative judgments, they defy verification. And they come under the realm of political philosophy. So I hope all of you now have understood, you can well understand that how there is difference between political science and political philosophy. Political theory comprises of political science and political philosophy. Political science is verifiable. It is based on empirical approach. But political philosophy is not verifiable. But they must be combined. The point is, they must be combined, as Kathleen has pointed out, as Hacker has pointed out. I have already told you that they have pointed out. But Hacker makes another point. He says that there is a difference between ideology and political philosophy. And he cautions that the ideology must not color political theory or political philosophy. Ideology must not color political theory or political philosophy. When it colors, it becomes rationalization. When it colors political theory, it becomes distorted. When it colors political philosophy, it becomes rationalization. So ideology, which is intensely experienced values, a set of values, a set of intensely experienced values, common values. Let us put like that. So when you say ideology, for the sake of ideology, people can sacrifice even their lives, or they are prompted to forget their immediate self-interest. They are prompted to forget their immediate self-interest. And they become so much ideological that they can do anything for the sake of ideology. For example, you see Maoists, what they are doing in the name of ideology. Wrong or right, I am not telling. But because in the name of ideology, they can do anything. So, even the fascists, they were, prompted by this ideology. So, ideology, when it colors political theory, it becomes distorted. Ideology, when it colors political philosophy, it becomes rationalization. You rationalize one particular set of arrangement, particular socio-economic arrangement, or you want another type of, in future you want another type of arrangement. So you become an ideologue. So ideology must be distinguished from political theory and political philosophy as argued by Hacker. So we must know these points so that our ideas will be clear. Now coming to the values, which I told you that values, they come under political theory. So let me tell you first, what is the role of political theory? What is the role of, political philosophy? What is the role of political philosophy? Political philosophy analyzes, synthesizes, and improves upon concepts. It analyzes concepts means it specifies the elements, different elements of a concept. It synthesizes means it establishes logical relationship between two concepts. For example, right and obligation. If you say right, it will be associated with obligation. Then another is improvement of the concept. You can improve the concept. You can say that sovereignty will be applied only to the legal one, legal sovereignty. Like that, you can be very clear, very specific. So you can improve. And one beautiful way of distinguishing political theory and political philosophy, you can note down also that political science explains. I told you that political theory comprises of political science and political philosophy. So distinction between political science and political philosophy is political science explains. Political philosophy justifies. It finds out the raison d'etre. If you read political thought books, you will find out that what is the main question? Why do men obey the state? Again, that question is the central question in political obligation. So, central question is in political obligation is why do men obey the state? And in political thought, if you read the book of Weber, which I suggested to you, and I told you that I am telling you now that the central question, as pointed out there, is that why do men obey the state? But let me digress for 1 minute to tell you another interesting thing. All of you must have heard the name of Gramsci. Gramsci asked the question, why do men not revolt? So if the central question in political thought is, why do men obey the state? Why do men obey the state? What is the justification of the state? In that context, I told you all these things, justification of the state. What is the raison d'etre of the state? That is political philosophy. And Gramsci told, he put the question in this way, that why do men not revolt? Why do men not revolt? If I ask you, can you tell me, why do men not revolt? All of you, most of you have read about Gramsci. Of course, leaving aside those students, if some students are there from undergraduate courses, I am not asking them, I am asking the PG students. So, most of you are PG students. Tell me, why do men not revolt? According to Gramsci, what is the answer? Because their minds are conditioned in such a way that they will obey. The values are drilled into their minds in such a way that they will obey automatically. So they will obey because values are drilled into the minds in such a way that they will obey. And in political sociology term, what we would say? Socialization. That you have been socialized in such a way that you will obey. So just see, find out the correspondence or congruence between what Gramsci told and what political sociology points out. Political sociology, socialization. Drilling the values into the minds of the children. And a very interesting word, substitute for socialization, I will tell you, is internalization. Remember, internalization. That you internalize the values in such a way that they become your own. That you make them your own. That you have internalized these values in such a way that there is no problem in acting in congruence with them. That you have no problem in acting in congruence with them. So Gramsci's question, as I told you, has been posed like this, that why do men not revolt? Why do men not revolt? So I told you about science, I told you about philosophy, I told you that how science explains and how philosophy justifies. Now, we will come to the great debate between fact and value, or value, regarding value. Because I have already told you that philosophy is concerned with these values. Science is concerned with description. Philosophy is concerned with criticism and reconstruction. You can note down also that science is concerned with description, whereas philosophy is concerned with criticism and reconstruction. So, philosophy, as I have told you, deals with values. Political thought, political philosophy, they deal with values. And there is a great debate regarding the values. All of you know about the positivists. Positivists like Durkheim in sociology. When I teach research methodology to the students in the class, I always start with positivism. Because when we do positivist research, of course not the post-positivist research, Himanshu knows about that positive research and post-positivist research. I mean, I start with positivism. I start with Durkheim. Because Durkheim pointed out that, or the positivists they point out, that they want to give statement like A causes B. A causes B. They want to give such statement. And I remember our Hobbes. Though Hobbes is in political philosophy, but I remember Hobbes, I like the Hobbes very much, very interesting way he explained. And I will also tell you that there is some similarity in Hobbes' thinking and also the positivist and also the logical positivist and also the behavioralist. I will tell you. Hobbes told that if you want to know human nature, I am going to tell you, I mean not me, Hobbes told like that. He told that I will tell you 2-3 things about human nature. If all of you agree, whatever conclusion I derive from that, you have to agree. Whatever conclusion I derive from those, you will have to agree. One thing he pointed out at the outset, that every man wants to avoid death. Every man wants to avoid death. So when a stone is thrown upward, it comes downward. Just see, this comparison he has also given, that if every man wants to avoid death, like when a stone is thrown upward, it automatically comes downward. Right? So every man wants to avoid death. Every man seeks power. That hankering after power, running after power, ceases only with the death of the individual. So he told this thing, then he told that other things can be derived from these two or three, premises, other things can be derived. So my point is that positivists like Durkheim, they wanted to say that law-like statement can be given. And he wrote the book Suicide. And in Suicide, he gave one law-like statement, that the rate of suicide varies inversely with the degree of integration of the groups of which the individuals are members, or the society of which the individuals are members. The rate of suicide varies inversely with the degree of integration of the social groups of which the individuals are members or parts. So my point is that this is a law-like statement. Because the positivists wanted to give law-like statement. And they also influenced the logical positivists, they influenced the behavioralist. And the behavioralist slogan, very interesting slogan which I give and which is also asked in net examination, which was the students, for the benefit of the students, I am telling that, again I am repeating that sentence, because I have told several times in my class. So that sentence is, that the slogan is, it is better to be clearly wrong than vaguely right. I hope all of you know. If you don't know, you can note down. It is better to be clearly wrong than vaguely right. So, truth emerges more clearly from what is wrong than from what is confusion. Just see, because the behavioralists wanted to make political science scientific, following the example of natural sciences. They wanted to make political science scientific. And just see their arguments and just see their slogan. They wanted to be clearly wrong rather than vaguely right. So that was their slogan. And they wanted to be value free or value neutral. Because empirical inquiry, in order to be value free, must be objective. Empirical inquiry, in order to be value free, in order to be objective, must be value free. In order to be objective, must be value free. Because I have already told you that values cannot be examined, or cannot be, their truth or falsity cannot be verified. Therefore, if you want to make any statement, empirical statement, then it must be value free. Okay? So it must be value free. So the behavioralists, they wanted to be value free, they wanted to be value neutral. But then they made tremendous contribution to our research methodology. So let us not forget also that thing. Various techniques have been contributed or have been innovated by the behavioralists. And they differed with the traditionalists. They had a great debate with the traditionalists, because the traditionalists, they say that you cannot sort the values from your analysis. If you sort the front door, they will enter through the back door. Like that. So many controversies are there, many debates are there, very interesting debates are there. Even a paper can be written on that. That I always tell in my class, research methodology class, that value free social science, what to speak of social science, even natural science, is neither desirable nor practicable. Explain. Value free social science is neither desirable nor practicable. So my point is that this is the great debate waged by the behavioralists against the traditionalists, and there is a debate. Traditionalists also, they give their arguments, the behavioralists give their arguments. Then the post-behavioralists, they gave a counter slogan to this behavioralist slogan. They gave this slogan because, as I have told you, and you must have remembered, that the behavioralists, they wanted to make their study value free. Or they wanted to make their inquiry value free. or value neutral. But the post-behavioralist wanted to restore value to the central position. And I am telling you all these things. I hope you won't miss the central point, because political philosophy emphasizes values. Political philosophy or political thought emphasizes values. Therefore, I am telling you all these things. And again, you remember another important point in this context, that is logical positivist, and behavioralist. They want to, all of them want to confine political theory to political science only. So remember, this is very interesting. The statement which I am giving you now, that the positivist, logical positivist, like Wittgenstein, logical positivist, then as I told you, the behavioralist, they wanted to confine political theory to political science. That means they did not like political philosophy. That means they did not want political philosophy to come within their ambit, because within the ambit of political theory, because they knew that the political philosophy is not verifiable. But I am saying that political theory must comprise of political philosophy and political science. There must be a combination, the way Catlin argued, the way Hacker has pointed out, and I have already told you that Hacker pointed out that a political theorist must be part scientist and part philosopher. So a political theorist must be part scientist, part scientist and part philosopher. So remember, so he wanted to combine this philosophy and science. The post-behavioralist, they wanted to restore values to the central position. And they also gave a counter slogan to what the behavioralist gave. The behavioralist gave the slogan that it is better to be wrong than vague. I hope you remember. I hope all of you remember that they gave the slogan, it is better to be wrong than vague. But the post-behavioralist gave the slogan that it is better to be vague than non-relevantly precise. You can note down. Very interesting slogan. Very interesting counter slogan. Let me put it this way. There is very interesting counter slogan that it is better to be vague than non-relevantly precise. Can you tell me from this sentence on which the post-behavioralist emphasized? Can you tell me from this sentence? If you have listened to me carefully, then you can make out. Can you tell me? Anybody? Yes? It is better to be vague than non-relevantly precise. The emphasis is on relevance. So all of you know that the post-behavioralist emphasized relevance and action. The post-behavioralist emphasized relevance and action. So relevance is given emphasis, that those problems which the social scientists take up for their research must be relevant, must have relevance for society, And these post-behavioralists, they wanted to restore values to their central position, because they pointed out that if knowledge is not guided by values, if knowledge is not propelled by values, then knowledge will be used for destructive purposes. If knowledge is not guided by proper values or propelled by proper values, then knowledge will be used for destructive purposes. And they give very interesting slogan, their point is very attractive also. What do they say? They say, to know is to bear the responsibility for acting. To know is to bear the responsibility for acting. And to act is to engage in reshaping society. If you want, you can note down also. To know is to bear the responsibility for acting. And to act is to engage in reshaping society. So the social scientists or the political scientists cannot shy away from responsibility. In the name of detachment, in the name of neutrality, they cannot shy away from responsibility. Though we say that political philosophy is detached, it takes political philosophers, they are disinterested. They speak the truth. They speak the truth. But at the same time, we will say that they should not shy away from social responsibility. They should not shy away from social responsibility. So, in the behavioralist vein, post-behavioralist vein, not exactly behavioralist, but at the same time, we must remember another point that the post-behavioralists do not deny the validity of behavioralism, because scientific method can be applied for the study of facts of social life. So, for studying the facts of social life or political life, for the study of the facts of political life, scientific method must be applied. So they don't say that scientific method has no use. But at the same time, they say that values must be restored to the central position. So values must be the propelling force behind knowledge. Or episteme, as I told you, which the Greeks used. Episteme, knowledge. It is different from doxa, opinion. So whatever I have told you so far, if you analyze them, you will come to know how political philosophy is different from science. But they must be combined. But they must be combined. That science and philosophy must be combined. I have already told you, I gave you one statement, that value-free social science is neither desirable nor practicable. What to speak of value-free natural science? Even value-free natural science is also neither desirable nor practicable. So, we will be value-free if we carry on the debate. We will be value-free because political theory, it is believed, is a never-ending conversation, remember. It is beautifully told that political theory is a never-ending conversation between the theory, among the theorists. Never-ending conversation among the theorists. So the conversation goes on. Great debates, they are not always resolved. Great debates are not resolved. But we learn from the debate. We learn from a debate. So, as I told you, that science and philosophy must be combined. And political theory, in true sense, it makes a combination of both political science and political philosophy. So, political science and political philosophy, they are combined. So, and they are, as I have already told you, they are distinguished from ideology. So, let me make my points fairly clear. I have told you the Greek days, I have told you political science, political philosophy, they are together in theory. Though some argue that political theory must be confined to political science only, but that stand we should not take, because we cannot neglect values. If you neglect values, the society will be in dark. Let me tell you very clearly that if you neglect values, the society will be in dark. Social policy will be directed by values. Social policy will be directed by values. In political theory, now we read feminism, environmentalism, human rights, social justice. All of you know that these are very important chapters in political theory. Environmentalism, feminism, social justice, human rights, and these are nothing but exploring new frontiers of value judgment. These are nothing but exploring new frontiers of value judgment. So we cannot shut our eyes to values. We cannot discard values. Though we cannot ignore science also, at the present stage of development, we cannot ignore science either, because scientific method is very essential to be objective. But at the same time, we must have values in our mind. So we must wind up in the way or in the fashion of the post-behavioralist. The way the post-behavioralist pointed out, that to know is to bear the responsibility for acting, and knowledge should be guided by values. If knowledge is not guided by values, knowledge will be used for wrong or destructive purposes. So we must bear that thing in mind, and we must try to make a healthy combination between objectivity and subjective things also. Though the behavioralist and the positivist, they say that the values are nothing but group values, individual values. They are group values, individual values, they are group preferences, individual preferences. They say, but we can find out through debate, discussion, what values will be common to all. There are certain values, we can devise certain values. Not that they are always group preferences, individual preferences. We can devise some values which will be of common importance. So we cannot ignore values, we should not ignore values either. So my point is, to wind up finally, that we cannot ignore the values. Values must be restored to central position, because the behavioralist and the positivist, they wanted to, they sidetrack things, but we will recognize their achievement, but at the same time we will say that values are nonetheless important. Values we cannot ignore. And lastly, I will say that political theory is a never-ending debate, as I told you. Is a never-ending conversation. Our political philosophy is the dialogue between politics and eternity. Political philosophy, as I told you, in the vein of Oxford. And in the post-behavioralist vein, we can also say that research must be socially relevant, and we must try to protect the human values of civilization. This is the statement of the post-behavioralist, that we must try to protect the human values of civilization. The human values of civilization must be protected. We cannot ignore them. Otherwise, humanity would be destroyed. Humanity would be, the longevity of humanity would be at stake, and the human values we cannot ignore. So that thing we will do, and let us tell you one thing, and I will finally end with that statement, that political theory must generate mutual respect. Political theory must, after knowing so many things I have tried to give you in capsule form. So regime which comes again in political theory, I must have taught Himangsu in the class that it is like a verbal capsule. Regime is like a verbal capsule. Socialism, capitalism, like that, they are verbal capsule. So I have given you so many capsules, and I hope you have realized the importance. But at the same time, we must be tolerant. And political theory must teach us mutual respect and how to be tolerant. We must respect each other's opinion. And in fact, it is a never-ending debate. So thank you. I would have continued for long, but I wanted that there should be some discussion. Already I have taken 1 hour, and I mean more than 1 hour. So we can have better some discussion, some doubt, and I will request Himangsu that if any question I cannot understand, he will explain to me so that I can explain if any student asks any question. But I have already told you during my previous lectures that higher education is not a process of monologue. It is a process of dialogue. So let us have a dialogue. I have already told that political theory is a dialogue. I have already told political philosophy is a dialogue between politics and eternity. So let us have the dialogue. So some doubts you can express. I can also try to clarify. I can also learn from you. So there is no problem. At this stage, I am also learning. And Himangsu compelled me to learn more. Because of my eye problem, I was not willing to go through all these things. have to take this class because such a long class I have to take, and I have to deal with the important concepts, and one cannot afford to mislead the students so far as the concepts are concerned. That is my philosophy. So I have given you sufficient food for thought. Now I hope that there will be some discussion. Thank you.
So thank you, sir. I mean, the participants would have realized that if they will get teachers like you, then they will learn something. And when they will become teacher, they will teach to their students whatever they have learned. But I am quite skeptical looking at the present situation, the kind of teachers are recruited by the government, the kind of or the level of knowledge or the kind of knowledge they have today. I think since I am teaching political theory and I'm interested in political theory, many times I feel that it is possible to be logical without reading. If you will not read, then you can beautifully explain things logically. But the moment you read, then you will face many contradictions. What you think logical, that may not be logical to many. Or in other words, I can say that what Socrates dissatisfied, a common fool satisfied. So I am satisfied, I am giving an explanation and I am trying to make it logical. But that explanation may not be authentic. That explanation may not be shared by many. So with reading, you will find many contradictions, and understanding those contradictions is the way to become intellectual. There are contradictions, and I hope the participants would have realized it, how you were moving from one concept to the other concept, and how you were exposing the contradictions while defining all these terms. Quite simply, if I will say in one sentence, conceptualizing theory means it is science plus philosophy. Science means something which is empirical, something which can be or which should be tested, and philosophy is all about this speculation. So science represents fact, philosophy represents value. And it is also true that theory is developed out of the practice. But one thing we forget, that the relation between the theory and practice is not one way, it is a two-way relationship.
Right.
From practice, we theorize things, we develop theory. And from theory, we get a kind of influence and we modify our practice. So that is the relation between the theory and practice. So I will not go on. I mean, theory, it's an unending debate. The more you think, new nuances, it will come, and we will just, it's a kind of, circular kind of discussion. You will start from one point, you will move, then you will move, and ultimately you will come to that point only. So though we are coming to at the end to that point, but that journey is very interesting. That journey will take you from this level to that level. So I will not do that. Let me go to the questions asked by the participants, students, and those who are interested to directly ask question to our speaker. I will give them the first chance. So those who wanted to or who want to directly ask question to sir, they can. I think I will not wait. Let me go to the questions asked in the chat box. Sir, one question has been asked by Kabu Pradhan. He is writing like this: Sir, you have very beautifully explained all these terms: political theory, political philosophy, political science. I do not know whether my question is relevant or not for today's discussion. However, I am curious to know what comes first, theory or definition? Yes, sir, you can respond to that. Then I'll.
What comes first, theory or
Definition.
definition? So
Yes.
how do you distinguish between the two? Because theory, I did not find time to tell you, behavioralists, they say that their theory is causal theory. Traditional theory is value theory. And that causal theory is also of different types. Low level, singular generalization. Middle level or middle gauge, then broad gauge, like that, like that. So singular generalization can be definition also. So what do you mean actually by definition? Theory naturally can be at the low level, at the middle level, at a high level, according to the behavioralists. And definition is a part of theory naturally. Definition is a part of theory. So first will come concept. First the concept will come. Then how you correlate the concepts. Then definition comes. Then will come theory. Theory is at a higher level. Theory is at a higher level. So concept will come. Then correlation between concepts will come. Your definition can fit into that. And then come theory. Theory comes at a higher level. Again, theory it can be at low level, middle level, higher level.
Sir,
I
I
hope.
think that,
Hmm.
sir, I think that, okay, I mean, you can have different levels of theorization, and from the different levels of theorization, you can also generate meanings, and meanings are represented through definition. That means today I am defining liberty in a particular way, and tomorrow I may define it in some other way. So I think from theory also one can generate definition. But definition is not fixed. Definition is also a kind of, there is fluidness in the definition. You can change your definition looking at your understanding. Sir, am I right, sir?
But there must be consistency. There must be
Yes.
consistency. If you today derive one type of definition from the theory, and next day you derive another type of definition which is not consistent, then that will not fit in. There must be correlation,
That
na?
is
If you go on
that
heading,
is
heading all right. But if you contradict the earlier definition, then that will be problematic, na?
yes. I mean, you have to follow the rules of academics, and you have to see. I mean, if your earlier understanding was a weak understanding, you can say it so. See, this
Supplement.
is because of this weak understanding. Yes, you can supplement. Okay, let me go to the next question. Soroj Kumar Patra. He is writing like this: Namaskar, sir. Excellent deliberation. My question is, as you told that Rousseau's civil society is the Hobbes' state of nature, sir, kindly simplify it.
Okay. That was very interesting point Soroj has asked. In state of nature, in case of Hobbes, state of nature, you know the human nature. How individuals were fighting among themselves, they were like hungry wolf. And the same thing prevails in case of civil society. But in case of state of nature of Rousseau, All were, when there was a natural man, they were at peace with each other. They were at peace with each other. They had equality and they had no private property. But when private property came into existence, then they started fighting among themselves. It entered into the state of nature as a snake, as I told you, and that corrupted the atmosphere of Rousseau's state of nature. Then civil society came into existence, and strife took place in the civil society, Rousseau's civil society. So they wanted to escape from that, as they wanted to escape from, individuals wanted to escape from Hobbes' state of nature. So Hobbes' state of nature is exactly like Rousseau's civil society, because fighting is there. Earlier peace was lost, earlier innocence was lost because of this corrupting influence of private property. Therefore, I told you that private property entered like a snake into the paradise and enticed Adam to take the forbidden fruit. Very beautifully expressed in books also. You will find, in some books of course, you will find that private property entered like a snake and enticed Adam to take the forbidden fruit. Adam and Eve were living very happily, but Adam was tempted to take the forbidden fruit by the serpent. So the atmosphere was vitiated. So they wanted to escape from the civil society, and through general will and other thing, they made a social contract. They escaped through the social contract. So social contract was made only at that stage when they wanted to escape from civil society, not from state of nature. From state of nature to civil society, they came due to an accident. Accident is the emergence of private property. I hope you have understood. If you have not understood, you can ask more questions.
I think, sir, if I will ask this question, that what is the difference between the Rousseau civil society and Hobbes state of nature?
Similar situation prevailed. Similar situation prevailed in the Hobbes state of nature and Rousseau civil society. Rousseau civil society, therefore, he has compared with Rousseau state of nature because fighting started. Fighting started. Infighting was not there in the Rousseau state of nature. Rousseau had a very, he gave the slogan, back to nature. That means he was he was a bull advocate, or he praised state of nature. Innocence of men, they were independent, they were equal, they were free. But that was lost, that was vitiated in the civil society. So similar situation prevailed, similar, if not exact similar situation prevailed, both in Rousseau civil society and Hobbes state of nature. Therefore, from Hobbes state of nature, they wanted to escape, individuals wanted to escape, and from Rousseau civil society, also individuals wanted to escape.
Okay, so thank you, sir. Lingaraj is asking this question: what is the difference between philosopher and thinker?
Philosopher and thinker, I have already told, very difficult to get difference between political thought and political philosophy. Philosopher and thinker, very difficult to, because they always say what should be, what should be. And giving, I therefore told you, if you just take the exception of Machiavelli and Hobbes, in our political philosophy, you will find that all other thinkers are mostly concerned with what should be, and these two thinkers are more realistic, Hobbes and Machiavelli. Machiavelli told that a man can forget the murder of his father, but he will not forget the loss of his patrimony. And Marx is also to some extent very practical, because he had no hypocrisy, because he told that every man is prepared to portray his best self-image. Marx has also pointed out. So philosopher and thinker, very difficult to get. Philosophy may sound to be a bit in a higher form. So thinking is there with philosophy. You cannot take away thinking from philosophy, but
I mean,
from thinking you philosophize.
sir, what is the difference between the thought and tradition?
Thought and
Tradition.
thought and tradition. Say we say Indian political tradition. We don't call it Indian political thought. Rarely we call it Indian political thought. We say Indian political tradition. So thought is more holistic, more integrated, I think. More integrated, more holistic than tradition.
Okay, okay. Let me go to the next question asked by Kamalakanta Ojha. His question is, what is the basic difference between theory and thought?
I have already spelled out now. Thought deals with what should be in politics, what ought to be in politics. In political thought, I mean. In political theory, it includes the principles which regulate political institutions. But you can say that this is traditional theory, behavioral theory is there, which deals with behavior, not only with institutions. So, theory includes principles, but in thought we deal usually with what should be in politics, what ought to be. But they are related, no doubt. Hair splitting distinction is there, therefore we use them interchangeably. But at the same time, strictly speaking, if somebody asks you, then you say like this. I have already made it clear.
I mean, in your deliberation, I find something interesting. In my class, I told that political theory is not only relevant for political science student, it is also relevant for the non-political science student.
Right.
Right. Okay. Coming to the next question, Aparajita Khotwa. She is asking, thank you, sir, for deliberation. It cleared a lot of fundamental things. But her question is isms like liberalism, Marxism, conservatism coming under political theory?
Yes, I told now. These regimes are verbal capsules and they are taught in political theory. They come under political theory. They come under political theory. But when they take the form of ideology, I have already told, when they take the form of ideology, then they develop vested interest and they want to justify a particular social arrangement, then it distorts political theory. As pointed out by Hacker, I have already told.
Sir, I think Aparajita asking a very unique question. I think liberalism, Marxism, conservatism, we can teach it as a part of political ideology. And we are also seeing that these are also part of political theory. If there is a course on political theory, such things are also there. Now, as a teacher, when I'm teaching political ideology and I'm dealing with isms, and when I'm teaching political theory and I'm dealing with all these concepts, what will be the difference?
Yes? Please repeat, please repeat. Last
I
sentence.
mean, when I am teaching liberalism as a part of political ideology, and when I am teaching liberalism as a part of political theory, then what is the difference or what is the different approach I will adopt while dealing with this concept?
Yes. So, tell the students that ism comprises of two things. One is doctrine, another is practice. One is doctrine, another is practice. Doctrine thing you can take to theory. Practice you can take to ideology. Practice you can say that it comes strictly under ideology, right? And I have already told that if you know of the views of some of the authorities, they say that ideology distorts political theory. So we must be careful. We must be careful because practices are there, and you find private property is justified by the capitalists. They say it is very much necessary for social justice. This example is also given in the book of Guava. And socialist thinkers, they say that private property is bad because that is not desirable. There should be social ownership of means of production. So there is two different things which we must be very clear in our mind that one is movement, one is practice, another is doctrine. So it can be a doctrine only, it can be both doctrine and practice. Fascism was dangerous. Fascism was dangerous. It was anti-man. So we must be careful, and we must careful. And I remember when I was teaching in GM college, one of my students became a big officer in army, and he told me when he was a student, he told me, "Sir, fascism is the way you to teach. I like fascism very much." But I told him that I don't like fascism because fascism is anti-liberty, it is anti-everything almost. It is anti-everything. Anti-socialism, anti-communism, anti-democracy, anti-man. So it is almost anti-liberty, anti-everything almost. So I don't like. So we must be very careful while teaching this type of ism to the students, because the young minds, they may be corrupted by the type of slogans the fascists used to give. Unfortunately, the fascists were influenced by Hegel, tremendously influenced by Hegel. Unfortunately, I hope her
I think
she's
when
satisfied.
okay, let me intervene. So I think after that she will be more clarified. Suppose I am dealing with liberalism as a political ideology, so I will teach liberalism in such a way that it will be like the opium of masses. That means the way you taught fascism, one student said that I like fascism. For the moment I deal with liberalism as a part of political theory, then I have to see the science part of political theory, the empirical part of political theory. I have to see the doctrine. I have to see the speculation. And
Right.
I will critically engage with liberalism. So I think that's the difference or different approach I must adopt while dealing with political ideology and political theory. Okay, coming to the next question. Okay, Brindavan Nayak is asking this question. Sir, are Machiavelli and Marx considered as philosopher or thinkers?
Who? Machiavellian?
Machiavelli and Karl Marx, are they philosophers or are they thinkers?
This is a very difficult question to say whether they are thinkers or philosophers. Marx, I will definitely call philosopher. Marx, I will definitely call philosopher. Hobbes is not only philosopher, a system builder. But Machiavelli, I am not sure.
I mean, in your deliberation, you said that uh, you know thought and philosophy it is closely related. It's very difficult to differentiate. But in this answer, I mean, in your answer to this question, you very clearly you are saying Karl Marx is a philosopher, and you are not sure of
Machiavelli.
Machiavelli, right? But if I will say that Karl Marx is a thinker, then where I am wrong?
You are not wrong, because I don't know from which angle you are looking at Marx. If you look at Marx from my perspective means that there was a vacuum in the political thought after Marx wrote. There was a vacuum in political thought after Marx wrote. And Marx has touched almost every aspect of life, every aspect of social life. So it would be better to call him a philosopher. And if any blame is laid at the door of Marx, I would say for that the practitioners of Marxism or communism, they are responsible. Marx is not responsible.
Yes, I
I
can
would,
remember.
I
I
would
can
say this.
remember while defining philosophy to my students, I tell that philosophy teaches us about us. So philosophy is all about our life. So if a thinker talks about life, then he builds up institutions, then he is critically engaging with those institutions. I think we can say that he is a philosopher. I think there is a slight difference between a thinker and a philosopher. And why, I mean, why you are not having any position on Machiavelli? I mean, what is wrong to say that Machiavelli is a thinker?
No, it differs again on the basis of interpretation. It differs again on the basis of interpretation. Okay, because you will find Gramsci's book, Machiavelli, then you will say that Machiavelli comes to a higher rank. But if you see other books, then you will find that Machiavelli is not of that rank, of that stature. But Marx is of such a stature that you cannot deny the dignified position to him, because he told that philosophy is what? Philosophy is not retrospective insight into the past, but prospective anticipation of future. It is prospective anticipation of future. and he anticipated the future, and he wanted to save the future, though mistakes have been committed by the practitioners. But different stature I attach to Marx, different dignity. Then naturally Machiavelli cannot compare, but I even give Hobbes that stature. Hobbes is system builder, as I told you. Hobbes is a very original thinker, very original thinker. Unlike Locke even. Because if you read the book of Weber, very interesting sentence is there that Locke's philosophy is the mirror in which Englishmen used to find themselves faithfully reflected. And Locke is appreciated, but Hobbes is not appreciated. Hobbes used to flee from one country to another, and he was brutally frank. Hobbes was brutally frank. Remember, very interesting thing that he was brutally frank. Therefore, he had to leave from one. He had to leave one place. He had to flee from one place to another all the time.
I
And
think coming.
another thing, though Hobbes told that my mother gave birth to twins, myself and fear, I will say that he was not at all timid. He was a brave man. Had he been a timid man, he would not have written all these things. Or Leviathan.
Okay, coming to the next question, sir, what is the basic difference and basic relevance of these three concepts, uh, that is Marxism, communism, and socialism?
Relevance. Marxism,
Now,
socialism.
I think this question is twofold. First, what is the difference between Marxism, communism, and socialism? And what is the relevance of Marxism, communism, and socialism?
Marxism is scientific socialism. Communism is the way it has been practiced. The way it has been practiced. And Marxism is the scientific socialism. Socialism can be democratic socialism also. Socialism can be democratic socialism also. But according to Marx, socialism is the penultimate stage. After socialism, communism comes. According to, if you take Marx stage wise, after socialism, communism comes. But communism is usually taken in that sense in which it has been implemented. Marxism has been implemented. So relevance is there. If you want to understand the imperialist exploitation, even it is continuing now. So imperialist exploitation is there. If you want to understand social reality, Marxism is of much help. If you want to analyze social reality, Marxism is of immense help. Immense help. Though communism is the god that has failed. Communism is the god that has failed. I will not call China, President China, even a communist country because it has adopted all the capitalist practices. So pure communism is not there, but Marxism is of utmost relevance as explanatory of the social reality.
Okay, so coming to the last question asked by Chinmay, what is the difference between political sociology and sociology of politics?
Political sociology, political factors and social factors, there is an interaction between two-way interaction between political factors and social factors. That we study not only how social factors determine political factors, we also study how political factors determine social factors. But in sociology of politics, there is one-sided interaction. One-sided interaction means that we only study how society determines politics. This is not good because our politics will be reduced to insignificance, or our politics will only be a dependent variable. But our politics also can be an independent variable, and in case of political sociology, both way interaction is studied. So proper study is political sociology, not sociology of politics, because it will result in predominance of sociology over political science.
Okay, so thank you, sir. I think we are done with the questions. I think one participant, Smruti Smita Naik, she has raised her hand. Maybe she will ask question directly to you.
Okay.
So Smruti Smita, can you ask question directly? Okay, Dhirendra. Dhirendra, you can ask.
Sir, good evening. Good evening to Himanshu. Exactly, sir is my reverse teacher, my guide. Actually, I don't want to give much ban because I think he has been totally exhausted. So, anyway, sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes. Carry on.
Sir, exactly in this discussion, I focus on value in a political theory. Definitely, political theory consists of political science and a political philosophy. And political philosophy, consists of value. Value is important, but they are mostly limit to value. So they are mostly limit. So in this respect, uh, there is much need of debate that in present society, as Himanshu already said that theory theory is circular, like theory has double aspect. Theory comes from practice and the practice comes from theory. So in this way, in the present society, theory will be built up from practice. So in this context, in the present society, is there any limitations or is there any deviations of using value in political theory, or is there any good symbol of building political theory in the present society where value is irrationally used by state?
Sir, you have to unmute yourself. I muted you for better clarification.
Hello, sir.
Okay, Dhirendra, it's not problem, I think. Sir, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay?
Yes.
Acha. Huh. So, I am happy. Should I react, Himanshu?
Yes, sir.
Himanshu?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes. Yes. So, I could hear what Dhirendra told partly, not fully, but I have already told that there must be a healthy combination between science and values. I hope that this sentence will explain what type of suspicion you have in your mind, what type of fear you have in your mind, that there must be a healthy combination between value and science. Though again you will say that empirically values cannot be, I have already told that empirically values cannot be verified. Empirically you cannot verify values. You cannot say what is, good life, what is the purpose of the universe, what is the purpose of good life. You cannot, scientifically verify that. You cannot have scientific examination of that thing. But the values must be there, otherwise we would be heading towards destruction. Therefore, I told that knowledge must be propelled by values. Unless knowledge is propelled by values, it will be used for destructive purposes. Okay, it will be used for destructive purposes. So even natural science, I told, forget about sociology. I told even in case of natural science that it is neither desirable nor practicable. I mean, value-free natural science is neither desirable nor practicable, because there must be the concern for human, protecting human civilization, humanity, that I must love another human being. I must not destroy humanity. I must not do such thing that humanity will be destroyed. We must not invent neutron bomb. If the neutron bomb is dropped here, I told in Dhirendra's college, I told this thing, that if a neutron bomb is dropped here, then the building will be, in Sambarpur University, for example, then building will be intact, but Himanshu and all the children, all the students will die. So we must not encourage individuals to go for the production of such thing. So natural science should not be totally or cannot be that value-free. Natural science is also neither desirable nor practicable. In that sense, we must protect the values of human civilization, and we can have debate. I mean, people who are serious-minded, they must sit together. They must devise which are values for the protection of human civilization. Then you will have no problem. Then you will have no problem. We must not head towards
Actually,
destruction. And
sir,
therefore I
actually,
told
I was
you,
putting,
hmm,
sir, exactly, I was putting emphasis on the present time. Is it
okay,
the favorable time to build up the theory? That if we say that practice also gives chance to build the theory, and theory also gives chance to build practice, then in this way, is it the right time or the favorable time to build the theory where
ah,
value is being used exaggeratedly?
yes, but we will not accept everything in theory, no? If values are exaggerated, we will not accept those things as values. I know what you want to ask. I know what you want to ask about the ruling dispensation, but I am not. I am not telling about that. I am telling humanity, human civilization. These are values. These values cannot be denied by anybody. These values cannot be denied by anybody. Even all religions, they also they also agree upon certain common things. So they can be values and they can be for the protection of human civilization. Therefore, I told you that whether you speak of climate study about environment, study about feminism, study about human rights, study about social justice you teach in your class, they are only expanding the frontiers of values. Without values, the studies are also not worthwhile. The studies are not worthwhile. Okay?
Exactly.
Okay, Dhiren?
Sir, exactly. Sir,
Hmm.
is present time favorable to build up the theory where
In
values is being exaggeratedly or distortedly used.
you don't think that the values of ruling dispensation are only values which are to be protected. I don't mean that. Therefore, I am telling you about humanity, na. I am telling you about human civilization, na. And the post-Beveridge, they also emphasize that we have to protect human values. Human values, if you want to protect civilization. Otherwise, you will be heading toward destruction. Whether it is in America, where children are killing their fellow, I mean their friends with guns. Violence is there. Terrorism is there. You see what is happening. You will have to check that. So these are values. These values are to be promoted. Nobody can deny this. So let us have a consensus regarding this. Forget about the ruling dispensation. I am not speaking of religious values, but even religion also, all the religions, they have certain common values. So accept that. There is no problem. There is no harm. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dhirendra. I think when we are talking about values, we have to situate it. So where we should situate value? We should situate value at the level of society or at the level of politics. Now, politics always, it calculates what is society, what is happening in the society, and accordingly, politics also, spread its own value. I think it will be appropriate to place value at the society level. And today, if you uh, see the society and critically think about it, you will find that how the values are degenerating. And in such situation, if we will be suspicious about values, then actually we are harming ourselves. Now, if the values of the society if the societal values will be good, then political values cannot be worst or bad. It is the society that generates politics. If politics is bad, then it means the society is bad. The society is the base, politics is the superstructure in that sense. Yes, values are important, but let me ask you this question, sir. You are talking about science and values. Now, in research methodology, we are taught science itself is a value, and that is a science in value. Now, how you will react to this? I mean, the kind of dichotomy you are bringing between the science and value, if I will say that there is a science in value and there is a value in science, how you will react?
Science is also a value, right? Science, value of science is organized skepticism. Remember that. Very interesting. Organized skepticism. Hypothesis is based on the organized skepticism of science. And science has also is based on certain values. Because to know is better than ignorance. Knowledge is better than ignorance. That the world exists. This cannot be proved. But science accepts it. Science accepts it. Science is based on these premises. So science is based on certain non-scientific assumptions. Science is based on certain non-scientific assumptions. In the book of Good and Heart, which is very favorite among the JNU students, you can read that book, very interesting. That science has got some non-scientific assumptions. As I told you, that the world exists, that knowledge is better than ignorance. It is better to know than to not to know. So it is based on certain, value premises or certain non-scientific assumptions. And science, another interesting aspect of science, as I told you, is organized skepticism. And another is that don't suppress truth, cultivate truth. You also tell your students in the research class that if you find some hypothesis has been formulated and you have collected data which go against the hypothesis, then you try to, temper with data in such a way that your hypothesis is proved. Tell them that this is not scientific spirit. Scientific spirit as a value, science as a value, believes in that bringing out all these things to open. And by that, the scientist or the researcher's prestige will be enhanced. It will not be, his prestige will not be degraded. Rather, his prestige will be enhanced. His prestige will not be eroded. So, science, rightly you have told that it has got some non-scientific assumptions, I told you, and it is also a value. Science itself is a value. And science and value, I told you dichotomy in the sense that value cannot be verified. Only from that angle I told that values cannot be verified the way facts can be verified. Therefore I told you that thing. But we must know also that science has got non-scientific assumptions. It has got values.
Okay, so thank you, sir. I think Durati, I saw that you raised your hand. If you want to ask
Yes.
question to the speaker, you can.
Okay, sir. Of course, my question has already been answered, but still more, I want some clarification. With the resurgence of values in political theory, can we say that political theory is now relevant? But also, what is the role of political theory in policy making of nations in the contemporary period?
Okay, I got your question. Sir, you have to unmute. I muted it for clarity. Yeah. No, you have to unmute, sir. Yes.
Now it is all.
Yes. Sir, did you get the question of Durati?
No, you please tell me.
Okay,
I-
she is asking, what is the relevance of political theory for policy making in contemporary time?
Achha. What is the relevance of values? Values.
No,
Political theory.
what is the relevance of political theory for policy making in contemporary time?
Achha. The political theory, I have told you that it comprises of both science and philosophy. So it consists of values, and values, they guide policy. I have already told in the course of my lecture that values guide social policy. If they don't guide social policy, if we don't give them proper importance, for example, uplifting the condition of the poor people, those who are at the bottom, or concern for humanity. So if we don't give importance to these values, then naturally our policy will not be, our policy will be lopsided. So in order to make our policy proper and in order to implement it properly, we must be guided by values. So political theory is always a guide, is always a guide. So we have to observe, things. Therefore science is there, and we have to depend on values, because values will guide this policy making. Otherwise, I mean, our policy will not be, will be lopsided.
Durati, before a policy, comes, that policy is examined by different centers, Center for Policy Science. So there are many such different centers where policy is discussed, policy is analyzed. And in that center, you will find there are members, there are finest political theorists in that center. So now you can get a link how political theory helps to evaluate, to shape and reshape these policies. Then after that, that policy is placed before the parliament, then there is a political process. So every policy needs a intellectual involvement, and that intellectual involvement is actually the involvement of political theorists of different research centers designed for that purpose only. So till I think Subhasri is asking a question, but I cannot understand what she is asking. So I want Subhasri to directly ask this question to the speaker.
Sir, namaskar. Sir, why Rousseau gives a negative point of view in their Emil book, and he says that women are inferior by qualities. Sir, why he says that?
So I am also very much shocked to find Rousseau's views on women, and though I am a great fan of Rousseau, but so far as his views on women are concerned, I don't agree with Rousseau, and might be that because of his time, when women were dominated or women were subservient to male members, therefore he has given such view. Even Aristotle also, you take, father of political science, he told what? That from citizenship, women are excluded. Children, women, slave, minors, they are excluded. Even in India, among the Brahmin families, you find, even among the Brahmin families, what you find, that Brahmins are supposed to be elitist, elite in the traditional India. Women were excluded from reading Sanskrit. So I always draw a parallel, you see, between Aristotle and Brahminic practice in India. So that is not desirable. But I think that Rousseau has been considerably influenced by his time. And Aristotle also, when he justified slavery, he has been influenced by that. So because of the subordinate position of women in the society, they have done like that, which has been criticized by many feminists, and rightly criticized by many feminists. Now we criticize. So I think that because of this, Rousseau has been biased. I think.
Sir, I want to say something. Sir.
Oh, okay,
Sir,
you can, Subhasri.
Sir, in Manusmriti, Manu says that yatra narayastu pujyate ramante tatra devata. But why some tribal people says that this is not fact, and in your concept of this woman subjections of women, please understand me, sir.
Sir, you have to unmute. You have to unmute.
What was that shloka? Yatra?
Yatra narayastu pujyate ramante tatra devata.
Acha. Where women are worshipped?
No, sir. Some of the peoples belonging to the scheduled tribe, they says that it is not fact and it is not come from the Manusmriti. Why he says that?
No. You please tell me in English what was the viewpoint of Manu, not the shloka, because shloka I cannot get it properly. Tell me.
Yatra narayastu pujyate ramante tatra devata.
Subhasri, what you are speaking in Sanskrit, you kindly convert it into English.
Is it like this where women are worshipped, gods are preached?
Where woman is worshipped, God is there.
Where women is worshipped, God is there. Is it true?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. But you
So
find,
where women are staying, there is the God.
yes, yes. But we have hypocrisy. We have hypocrisy, and you find that there is some, in some cases women are praised, deified, Durga, Shakti, that is worshipped. But in actual practice, what we do is important. In actual practice, we don't respect them. Now change is taking place, but I believe in what Hegel said, that there is always progress towards more and more freedom. So I find when some good steps are taken by Supreme Court, when good steps are taken by judiciary or government, I feel very happy. That I feel that there is more respect for women, and feminists are also happy, and we hope that that problem will be solved. But I don't believe that in Shastra due recognition has been given to women, because you know that Shastra has been written in such a way. It has been written, for example, in case of scheduled tribes, that যদি জনে scheduled tribe, if a scheduled tribe reads Gita, then he will become blind. One leader told in one meeting, one tribal leader told in one meeting, that I tell my, I tell my tribal people that if you read Gita, you will be enlightened. You will not become blind. So I appreciate that very much. I appreciate that. So we must know that there is a hypocrisy, double standard. There is a double standard in Shastra something, and in actual practice some other thing. There was one very interesting article by Sagarika Ghosh, probably in the Times of India. Only a few days back I read, and she has exposed this thing, that we worship Shakti, we worship Nari, actually in Shastra, but actually in actual practice we don't give them that respect. We don't give them that respect. We don't want them to go high up also. And if some people go higher, I mean like Indira Gandhi or someone else, then we try to drag our feet. That is how Savarika Ghosh put it. But I think that there is a double standard. We should not be there. And slowly that problem will be solved. Slowly it is solved, because court is taking a very progressive view. That is a very good thing. If you go through the legislation and also court's viewpoint, then you will find that more freedom in case of women is realized. And I am very much happy about that.
So thank you, sir. Sir, I think we should think beyond this. I mean, you are saying there is a hypocrisy. So I think, are we making things over simplistic, and we are just saying that this is hypocrisy? For example, we give importance to Ramachandra, and also we make a difference between Ramachandra and Rama Bhandari, right? So people who are worshipping God and goddesses, I mean, we don't see God and goddesses in gender terms, right? And can I say that since I have respect towards Ramachandra, and Ramachandra is a man, so I must have respect towards all men. So can we say so?
No, we cannot say so, because we think in terms of gender in case of deities also. Shakti, some are worshippers of Shakti. So we can't say that same thing in case of male god, the female god. So how can we say same thing? We cannot say same thing. We worship Shakti, but there is a double standard, there is hypocrisy. Because women, I mean, they want to be pushed to the, men want to push them to the margin. And women, some of women, they are coming to the front, that is very
Sir,
good.
I am asking this question: if we are gender biased, and the kind of distinction we are bringing between the men and women on this earth, why we are not doing that in the context of deities?
No, we are or not in case of duties. Therefore, we are making double standard. We have double standard. Therefore, so far as the deities are concerned, we say Shakti, we are worshippers of Shakti, like that. Durga, Kali, we worship. But in actual practice, we neglect women. If some women is powerful, then male members, they come together and they try to suppress her. Even in Panchayat election, you will also find. At the national level, you will find. At the Panchayat level election, you will also find that. So we must be very impartial to observe that and to give comments like that.
Okay, so thank you, sir. We are at the last part of this event. Now I want my MPhil student Sanjay Suna to provide a vote of thanks to our speaker.
A very warm good evening to one and all who are present here. On this wonderful evening, I want to present the vote of thanks, and we take this golden opportunity to thank the honorable speaker of this webinar, Professor Shyam Sundar Acharya, for attending this function from his busy schedule. And it was really a very fascinating and very engaging talk on the concept of understanding and political theory, that we have also summarized start from the genesis of the political theory, that what is the politics and what is the theory. We clearly distinguish between the both, that politics, you gave a good example that how if a mother is solving the problem of her son or daughter, son or daughter, then means the politics is there, means wherever the conflict exists, the politics also exists there. And theory, which means the epistemology, the study of knowledge. Then after it goes to the Gramsci theory, how the hegemony works, and how the elite people maintain the hegemony through the civil society. And then later part you deal with the behavioralism and the post-behavioralism, how the behavioralists want to make the political theory the pure science. Then later they realize that how you cannot separate the value from the science. So it was a great talk, and thank you, sir, for your great time. And I extend my gratitude to the respected webinar coordinator, Dr. Himanshu Shekhar, for organizing such kind of intellectual talk. And he is the person who always keep warm us through this intellectual debate. And I also thank again him. And this is last but not the least, I thank all my colleagues and fellow who listen this talk carefully and actively. Uh, and I would say that without you all, this event won't be successful. So thank you all once again. Thank you, sir.
So thank you, Sanjay. I mean, we should also be thankful to those who ask the questions. Right. And since I have been doing it, I get pleasure. I know that there is no API score for this, but this is a academic exercise, and I always want students to be the part of this academic exercise. But I cannot force anyone. I will send the link today. 46. I have seen the highest participants, 46, but I was expecting more than 100. Right. But these 46 participants are the genuine participants. They joined because of their interest. I think we should be more than satisfied, because 46 participants, they have interest in academics. There are many, maybe the 46 are not the whole number who are uh, part of the academics. Maybe it is 2 or 3%. But this 2 and 3% are genuinely they are interested in academics. I think it is more than, it's for me, it is more than, satisfaction. We in Sanskrit we say that ekos chandra tamohanti nachotara gane picha. So one moon is enough for 100 or thousands lesser stars. And I think each participants are like moon. They spent time with us, they learned, they asked question, and I'm sure that when they will deal with it as a student or as a teacher in the class, they will get more clarity, or if they will go through the books, they can have better understanding. I think, in my last words, I will say that I find great teachers. So that's why there is a teacher and a student within me. As long as I'm alive, so that teacher and student within me, it will be there forever, because I get good teachers and I'm very fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate. And I'm also trying my level best to make you realize that you are also fortunate. I'm trying to be a teacher like my teacher. Whatever my teacher has done for me, I am also trying to do that. But for that, you have to be a student like me. Sir can remember, Sir is the only teacher in the class and I am the only student, and Sir has taken the class. So students should be like Himanshu and teacher should be like Shyam Sundar Acharya. You can make wonders. Student be like Aristotle, teacher will be like Plato. They can do wonders. So it is in fact the teacher-student relationship that can bring qualitative change in the society, and change in the society produces change in the political system also. So we have to do groundwork. We cannot expect good politics until and unless we have not made the best society. So thank you, sir. Sir, namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir.